Oklahoma Gardening is a production of the Oklahoma Cooperative Extension Service as part of the land grant mission of the Division of Agricultural Sciences and Natural Resources at Oklahoma State University, dedicated to improving the quality of life of the citizens of Oklahoma through research-based information. Underwriting assistance for our program is provided by the Oklahoma Department of Agriculture, Food, and Forestry, helping to keep Oklahoma green and growing. It's been 2 years since our last garden tour, and we're so excited to bring you along for a sneak peek of the upcoming Tulsa Garden Club garden tour. Stay tuned as we feature a couple of the gardens and information on how you can see them in person. It's been an interesting spring, one with unpredictable weather, which kind of complements this interesting year that we've had. As we've all been cooped up a lot, it's nice to get out and get a little inspiration from the gardens. So join us as we take a sneak peek of the Tulsa Garden Club's annual garden tour. We're excited that it's back again this year to feature some great gardens over in the Tulsa area. Stay tuned as we take a look at a couple of those gardens and how you can go see them firsthand.
So this is our 70th year for the tour, and we're calling it our Deja Vu Tour because, of course, last year we couldn't have it. So half of the homes for this year's tour, we're going to do it last year. And then we have 2 new homes. So we have 4 homes, and it's going to be on May Day, May 1st. Well, we have several large gardens, and then we have a small garden, so we have a great variety. One of the gardens has an orchard and a swimming pool. One is a small garden with a fireplace and just very cozy. One has artificial turf and it's very sports oriented. And then the other one is an unbelievable shade garden with a lot of water features. So I think we have a fantastic variety. Tickets are $10 in advance and they're $15 at the door. You can buy them at any 4 of the gardens or on Eventbrite, and that information's on the Tulsa Garden Club website. And 12 and under children are free. And we're just so excited for spring and just want to see everybody come out on May Day.
Today we're here at the home of Andrew and Janice Horowitz, and they've opened their backyard to give us a peek of their garden. Janice, thank you so much for showing us your yard. I mean, it's just a lovely landscape.
Thank you.
I love, first of all, as we came by your front door here, the bubbler.
Yes, it was really an important element for me. I grew up on the ocean and always around water, and I just needed to have to incorporate a water feature, an element of sound, and it just brings some interest to the front of the house, for sure.
It's so nice to have that right as you come out the front door, and because it is a pondless feature in your front yard, you don't have to worry about it being a problem or anything.
It's very low maintenance. Every now and then I add water and forget it. And what's nice is that I can hear it from inside as well.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a dual benefit to having a water feature.
Excellent.
It's welcoming too, I think.
Absolutely.
A lot of people enjoy the sound of that as they walk up. So.
Yeah, and you are. I mean, we're here in Tulsa, in urban Tulsa, so you've got a lot of surrounding city noise.
Yes.
But being near this bubbler kind of drowns out some of that.
It's nice because it's one of the first things that you hear as you approach the front of the house. So it's really pleasurable to see and to hear as well.
Well, and you've incorporated a lot of color. We have sort of a semi-shady front yard here.
Very much.
It's anchored by our huge oak that you have here.
That's true, and this beautiful tree, which I really treasure and try to take very good care of, is the only thing that was here when we moved here 20 years ago. So I've hung on to that and built kind of a garden around that is our kind of our anchor.
Yeah,
So-
I love that. A lot of people have that same problem. How do they grow grass underneath a big established tree or a landscape? And it looks like maybe the soil has been elevated just ever so slightly,
Right.
allowing you to plant some hostas and heucheras under there.
Right. You have to be very careful about putting too much soil on top of a tree like this, because obviously you don't want to choke it.
Right.
But with the help of Stone Petal, we worked very diligently to kind of refurbish the soil and really enrich the soil so that what we put in the ground would thrive and survive and grow, which it has. So I'm very happy with the result. And I like the fact that that it's anchored or framed with the stone, and I like the fact that we have different plants around there. It's not all one of the same thing.
Yeah,
so there's more visual interest
There's
there.
a lot of interest, but one thing that I've noticed is the repeating colors of the kind of the chartreuse and that burgundy
Yes.
foliage, whether it's the Japanese maple
Right.
behind you, or I love the repetition of the color here on your coral bells
Yes,
too.
I know. These have been very hardy. They've done really well this year in spite of our crazy weather and COVID and everything else, but they have done well, and I like the fact that we've kind of mixed the colors together, so that again it provides a little bit more interest.
And definitely with having color for foliage, you're going to have that color all year or
That's
all
right.
season.
Exactly.
Rather than just relying on the flowers.
Exactly.
Well, I hear there's more in the backyard.
There is,
Can we go take a look at
and
that?
I'd be happy to show you.
Excellent.
So come right this way.
Wow, this is lovely as you come around the corner here.
Thank you. It's the south side of our house, and a lot of people forget that they can do things on each side of their house in addition to the front and the back. So what we kind of try to create here, because this is the one place I get a lot of sun, and I wanted to take full advantage of that, so I had a pergola constructed, and we have a variety of climbing plants that creep up and flower, and they're very pretty because they're sun-loving plants, and so that's created another interesting feature
Yeah,
of
this is
area.
almost like another room, and I think because this is the side of your house between another house, a lot of
Yes.
times this is the forgotten area.
Yes, it is. But it's funny because when friends come over, and we're often in the back, they'll come walking through this as a kind of a pathway to our backyard. So why not create something interesting and visually pleasing?
Yeah.
So that's kind of what we achieved or tried to achieve here. It's early in the spring, so things are not completely in bloom yet, but it's very pretty in the summer.
And
so
the trellis is a nice addition because again, you're taking advantage of that vertical space
Right,
and being able to
exactly.
include more plants in this space.
Yes, and flowering plants. So it really provides some sort of a kind of a picture on a wall. But it's on the outside of the house, so it's kind of fun to do.
And not only identifying the microclimate that you mentioned, that this
Correct.
is a sunny location here too.
Yes,
so.
correct.
Well, you've done a phenomenal job with this small side yard. Can we go ahead to your backyard now?
Absolutely, I'd love to show you. Follow me.
Wow, Janice, this is beautiful. I imagine you spend a few summer nights out here.
We spend a lot of not only summer nights, but spring and fall as well, because we have that great climate in Oklahoma, so it's important to create another living space outside, at least for me. I like being outdoors.
Well, it's a little chilly this morning, and I smell your fireplace going. Like it's just
it is a
so
bit
inviting
chilly.
and cozy back here.
Yes, it's lovely. And we have two fire features. We actually have a fireplace, and then we have the fire pit. And again, I wanted to incorporate an element of water. So we added this little bubbler water feature many years ago, and it kind of combines all those great elements at the same time.
Yeah,
So
the
nice.
fire in the water is
Yes,
always a nice landscape feature.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
I like you have kind of a seating area up there with the step down. Again, it defines those spaces.
Exactly. I thought it was, this whole yard kind of evolved over 20 years. So we've added things as we have decided how to live in the space, which I think is a smart thing to do, because if you do it all at once, you make a lot of mistakes. So we started with the outdoor space up here, and we just kind of created an outdoor living space, and that's why we added the fireplace. And then we wanted to extend the yard, or the living space, out into the yard, so we created this area as well. So it has additional seating, dining. We also added some shrubs for additional privacy. I don't know what I'm going to do next.
I think you've done really well of using both landscape, hardscape seating to sort of create those boundaries, to create those different spaces.
Right. Well, I think that's important because, as you live in the space, you want to feel a sense of privacy, much like you do when you're sitting in your home. So it's tricky sometimes to get that right because we have to be respectful of our neighbors, but I think we've done a fairly good job of creating a comfortable outdoor space.
Yeah, even with the hollies and the trees in the front yard, you got a split rail fence out there.
Yes.
It still is inviting, but yet cozy.
Right,
So.
and we did those elements to kind of define our space as well, and it's like framing a picture. You start with the frame, and then you kind of work inward and create the picture and the interest.
Yeah,
so
well, you have quite a diversity of trees too.
We do.
Were some of these native or are already here as far as when you moved here? Or?
No, actually none of them were here when we moved here. There was not a tree at all in the backyard.
Wow.
And one year for the holidays, it was a gift from my husband who got 13 trees planted for me, most of which are still here. So we have a variety of loblolly trees, which are kind of a pine tree, and a beautiful plum tree, excuse me. And that's been here for many, many years. And then, of course, traditional Oklahoma redbud trees, which are always beautiful this time of year, and some of the weeping Alaskan trees. So there is a variety of trees, which also lends to interest.
Right.
Some of them change colors differently in the fall, and so it's fun to see the kind of the evolution through each season.
Yeah, both a mix of deciduous and evergreens.
Yes.
And, you definitely have painted a lovely picture in your landscape here, and thank you so much for sharing it with us.
Well, you're very welcome. It's my pleasure to show you around, and we enjoy the space very much. So thank you for letting me share it with you.
We're here in Midtown Tulsa to take a look at another beautiful home landscape, and joining us is Carla Childs. Hello, Carla. Can I interrupt your work for a minute?
Sure. Hi, Casey.
Good to see you. This is a beautiful landscape. So you are one of the people, one of a few people that help take care of it. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah. We have a crew, and there are 5 of us, and we do all the annuals and change out the color several times a year. It's just wonderful.
Well, I hear you're one of the key players in the annuals. So let's talk a little bit about the annuals, what we have here.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, we're seeing the cars stop on the street to take a look at all the beautiful tulips and the pansies and violas you have. How do you go about your color selection?
We just try to think of, we go visit other gardens and look at the catalog over and over again, and we just look and see what has worked well for us before and try to just match that, change it up a little bit, match the tone of the house and what the homeowner likes.
Yeah.
Some of them like lots of reds and yellows, others no, just like lots of pastels.
Well, it seems like you got a good mix of both. You've got the bright colors out capturing that streety audience, but then as we can see with the violas, it gets a little softer as you get closer to the house and stuff.
Yes, it does. Yeah, that's on purpose. Just kind of draw your eye up to the house. I mean, this with the white background of the house, you can just do anything.
Yeah, I mean, that is the best Mondo lawn I've ever seen. That's beautiful.
Thank you, thank you. It's taken a few years to fill in, but it's quite spectacular.
It looks phenomenal. And I'm so happy to see that the azaleas have done well after our bitter ice storm that we have, but they seem to be really coming
Ours have
on.
done really well. Yes, they've and now they're all beginning to bloom, so it's going to be really nice.
So what's behind this azalea berm here, if you don't mind?
No, you should go take a peek. It is there's a hidden driveway that goes to the garage, and we have alliums and poppies and more violas down there, and a really interesting driveway where we have planted mazes down in the cracks of the driveway.
Oh, so you've taken every inch as the
Every
landscape
inch, every,
opportunity.
yes.
So I hear the backyard is even more phenomenal. Do you mind if I go take a
No,
peek?
you should go to the back. Ann is back there and she can tell you all about the perennials. And Susie Wallace, who's the homeowner, can give you some insight on some interesting things that we have in the backyard.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Carla.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Hello, Ann. So I hear you're the one that takes care of this beautiful perennial garden.
Well, yes, I do. Thank you.
So tell me a little bit, is this what it looked like when it first started, or?
No. She had a lot of the blue lime grass up here and lots of different things. And Carla called and said, Ann, I've got a new garden for you to try out. So I came and we put in perennials, and her group did all the heavy work, and I got to come in and just plant.
So it looks like
was
you
nice.
have quite a selection. I love the mix of it, and I can tell that this garden is going to change dramatically in just the next few weeks.
Yes, it's considered a summer in through fall garden, and it's a butterfly garden. And we have about 30 varieties of plants in here and about 450 to 500 plants.
Wow.
And then we go ahead and plant in some more of the tropical milkweed and some other butterfly plants that will come in and do
Okay,
that
so you'll
too.
even interject even some
Yes.
more color in there.
Yes,
So
yeah.
tell me a little bit about the selection of plants, as far as you've got some peonies and some Amsonia, it looks like.
Yes, the biggest part of the garden is going to be phlox, along with the peonies. They're kind of one of the first ones that come on, and then the summer phlox will come on in June, and then we have the even more color coming on after that. We have a veronicastrum that's really quite nice.
Yeah.
And I've got a big clump of it now. It's been in the garden about 4 years now.
Very nice. It looks like you also might have some penstemons in
Yes,
there mixed
yes,
in. And,
yes.
Well, I can only imagine that's beautiful, and it's really good plant selection that tends to handle Oklahoma weather, it looks like.
Yes, I kind of design gardens that it's not xeric garden, but it doesn't need a lot of water.
Yeah.
We have the sprinklers coming on for 30 minutes twice a week, and then that's all the water it gets other than the heavens.
And the other nice thing is having kind of a mixed perennial bed like this, you might not notice the weeds as much. Not that there are
Yes,
any weeds here.
don't get close
No,
now,
not that
yeah.
there are any weeds, but it's just nice having that variability in the texture of the foliage and stuff as
Yes,
well.
yeah. We do try to plant them not too close, but close enough where they're going to fill in and shade the weeds out. So we don't have a lot of weeds other than right now.
Well, it looks beautiful, and I think I'm going to go up and talk with the homeowner a little bit about how she
Okay.
enjoys all of this beauty.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Hi, Susie. Thank you for having us here.
Good to see you.
Yeah, this yard is just landscape is spectacular.
Thank you.
So tell me a little bit about, I mean, you've got so much involved and going on in your backyard here. There's a cutting garden, there's so much to see. What's kind of your favorite part?
That's so hard to say. It's like little microclimates within the yard. So the cutting garden has been such a fun thing. I love being able to go out and cut an arrangement of flowers whenever I feel like it. I love
the water garden.
I love the water garden, and it's early for plants in the garden, in the pond right at the moment, but I love the fountain, and this is a really pleasant kind of zen space up here. You know, we redid our pool area last year, and that's been like such a great activity spot for us with grandkids.
Well, you get a lot of sun, and obviously the house is white, so you probably get a lot of reflective light, which is nice to be out in the sun. But
Absolutely.
This is such an oasis of shade up here,
Yes,
and you get the nice wind up here also.
It's very calm. It's very calm.
I love it. And then you've got a beautiful also arbor over there with some grapevines growing on it.
When we bought the house, there were grapevines existing, and we liked that so much that we decided to build the arbor and then start replenishing the grapevines, which are pretty old, and we weren't sure how long they were going to last. So that's been really fun, and we've had fun growing gourds through the through the arbor, so that it's just a fun spot over there.
Yeah, I love it, and I bet you can walk under it and really enjoy getting to experience the vines walking through them like that.
Yes, and we planted a fruit orchard when we first moved in, and that's been interesting to see. And we have apple trees and peach trees and pear trees and plum and fig, and so that's been fun. All of that's sort of new to us. We hadn't ever done that before.
Okay.
In our last house, we had a much smaller yard and just didn't do any of that sort of
Truly
stuff.
an example of an urban orchard that you can have here.
Absolutely.
And I love how everything is lined with the blooming laurels that you have right now.
Yes.
And we cannot not talk about the dogwoods right now. I mean, they're just spectacular.
They're magical, aren't they? It's like a fairyland.
It really is. It really is.
Yes.
I love this. And we need to mention the house. It's just such a beautiful architecture. Can you tell us a little bit about the history of it?
It's an Art Deco house built in 1937. Frederick Vance Kirshner is the architect. We have loved this house since we were teenagers and drove around looking at architecture in Tulsa and had our eyes on this house. That's a long time ago. And when it came on the market, we were just thrilled that we got to have it. So we love it. It has that contemporary feel that we really like.
Well, Susie, dreams really do come true, that you got your dream home, and this is a dream landscape that goes with it. So thank you so much for sharing it with us
Well,
today.
thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Tulsa Garden Club was begun in 1929 when 23 gals here in Tulsa decided they wanted to form a group to study botany and to teach more of us about gardening. So that's what we have done for 91, almost 92 years. And I say we quite loosely because I was not one of those original 23 gals, but fellow members and I work every day, 24/7, to do gardening education. So from the beginning, Garden Club members opened up their own gardens to help each of us learn more, and then began opening it to the public for fundraising opportunities. And we have over the years raised hundreds of thousands in order to fulfill our gardening education mission with our projects. But one of the key projects is the ongoing maintenance and the functioning of Tulsa Garden Center that Tulsa Garden Club helped create in the 1950s. Similar to what we started in Oklahoma State University in the 50s, we have funded scholarships and student grants for higher education, and we've also done some things with other educational programming. And now through TCC, Tulsa Community College's Second Chance program, we are supporting the horticulture program with inmates at Dick Connor Correctional. So it is gardening education, whether it is with members and our guests, whether it is public education like our garden tour or our flower shows. We are all about helping others learn more about what grows here in Green Country. Join us, please, and you may call or go to tulsagardenclub.org.
There are a lot of great horticulture activities this time of year. Be sure and consider some of these events in the weeks ahead. Next week on Oklahoma Gardening, we take a look at the things that we need to get completed in the month of May. Learn how to find a leak in a water garden. Becky Carroll shares with us a grafting method for pecans, and we turn the camera around to take a look at our director and videographer for the past 22 years. To find out more information about show topics as well as recipes, videos, articles, fact sheets, and other resources, including a directory of local extension offices, be sure to visit our website at oklahomagardening.okstate.edu. And we always have great information, answers to questions, photos, and gardening discussion on your favorite social media as well. Join in on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can find this entire show and other recent shows, as well as individual segments, on our Oklahoma Gardening YouTube channel. Tune in to our OK Gardening Classics YouTube channel to watch segments from previous hosts. Oklahoma Gardening is produced by the Oklahoma Cooperative Extension Service as part of the Division of Agricultural Sciences and Natural Resources at Oklahoma State University. The Botanic Garden at OSU is home to our studio gardens, and we encourage you to come visit this beautiful Stillwater gem. We would like to thank our generous underwriter, the Oklahoma Department of Agriculture, Food, and Forestry. Additional support is also provided by Pond Pro Shops, Greenleaf Nursery and the Garden Debut Plants, the Oklahoma Horticultural Society, and Tulsa Garden Club.